Donald Trump's come out the other day and said that 50-year mortgages are a good idea and he's going to encourage them in the US. Let's just assume that the same thing comes over into Australia. What's your thoughts on it? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What the actual...
Yeah, well, as an ex-mortgage broker, I love it.
Yeah, you would.
I love
You
it.
would. More commissions,
As an
longer
ex-mortgage
commissions.
broker, as now a guy who cares about people's financial well-being and
Yes,
health,
yes, yes.
it's if Australia, for example, introduced something like that, and for the Americans out there, um, it's really can be really really dangerous for a lot of people, and I guess if you call it the average Australian, they won't half of them won't know how to manage a mortgage initially as a first home buyer, or even a person that's refinancing their home. But in terms of the detriment that it could cause over the lifetime, over a year, if you're buying $1 million house, it could end up costing you $3, $4, $5 million over a 50-year
Yeah, because of the
mortgage because of the
interest.
interest that you're paying over
So if
50
we just
years.
take half a step back for those playing at home, and who might not fully understand or comprehend this, right? So at the moment in Australia, the maximum mortgage that you can get is 30 years. When you go to apply for a mortgage with a bank, and if you're 30 or older, they'll actually ask the question, you're going to be 60, 65 by the time this reaches the end, what's your plan? And they have to do that for responsible lending. So we go now from a 30-year mortgage, which at the moment, and with the interest rates where they're at, you basically pay back double the amount of whatever you purchase in interest. So if you buy for $1 million, your interest and the total amount ends up costing you about $2 million.
Yep.
So we then fast forward and we've got a 50-year mortgage. And I think the concept appears to be that it'll make home ownership more
More affordable.
affordable because the payments are lower.
Yep.
But the payments are lower because you're paying it off over a longer period of time. Doesn't mean you're actually paying off the principal amount of debt any faster. So as you say, it's probably going to be double again that you're going to be spending over that 50 years on the mortgage, depending on the interest rate and all of that sort of stuff. That's if you even pay it off. Because what we see with people in their situations is that they refinance every 3 or 4 years to get a better interest rate.
Yep.
And then they reset the mortgage back to 30 years again.
Yep.
So, there's lots of clients that come to mind in the various scenarios where it's like you're 15 years into a mortgage, you've been paying off, you bought it 15 years ago, you've refinanced 5 times, and you've still got 30 years left. So they've almost got a 50-year mortgage anyway.
Yeah.
I think the wider sort of aspects of it as well is that any time that you make home ownership more affordable means that you've got more buyers, which means it pushes the prices up. So it won't be long if we're talking about 50-year mortgages, which is crazy in my opinion, that we're now talking about 60, 70, 80, 100-year mortgages that now goes down through generations because, the politicians and the approach of government seems to be, let's just deal with the problem that's at hand, kick the can down the road, and the future generations can worry about it.
The problem with a lot of my clients and a lot of most of Australia that I feel like is that when something is too good to be true financially, they believe it. Because the impact of pushing from a 30-year mortgage to a 50-year mortgage for a new home buyer, for example, is that from a 30-year mortgage, whatever my situation is, let's say I can afford $1 million home. For a 50-year mortgage, if you were to stretch that, now all of a sudden I pay less, which means now on paper I can buy a $1.5 million home or $1.2 million home.
Yeah.
But in the real life scenario, in terms of interest and over 50 years, I definitely can't afford that.
Yeah.
If you really look at it.
Yeah.
So if Australia's for some, hopefully not, goes to a 50-year mortgage, a lot of those first home buyers in Australia would go, oh my God, like as a family, we can buy a $2 million home, our dream property, and then overstretch themselves. And like, unfortunately, it puts them in a situation where 5, 10, 20 years down the track, that they see themselves constantly refinancing, going back because they can't afford the payments.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a whole cycle of debt.
Now, if I play devil's advocate on the other side, there's probably a bunch of people listening to this to say, well, if I've got a 50-year mortgage and my minimum repayments are less, why don't I just pay more as if it's a 30-year mortgage? And, the answer is, yeah, you could do that. But do you?
Exactly.
Do you pay more than your minimum at the moment on your mortgage? Probably not. No. Do you pay more on your car loan, on your credit card than the minimum? Probably not.
No.
So going back to what we keep banging on about when it comes to approaching our finances is that, there's this concept with time that work will expand to fill the available time. So if I've got an hour to do something, it's going to take me an hour. If I've got 5 minutes to do something, it's going to take me 5 minutes. The same is true with finances. The mortgage is going to expand to fill the maximum time period.
Yeah.
And that's just human nature, and that's what happens.
I mean, it's similar. I mean, it's just like, I guess, you talk about the human nature part of it is like when I was studying, like, and I had an assignment due on the 1st of December, I would do it the 30th the night before.
Yeah.
Right. I would have a month to do it, but I would actually do it on the 29th or the 30th.
Yeah. Well, especially this session that we've been getting ready for.
Yeah.
We started planning it a month ago, but realistically, I didn't start doing anything until yesterday.
Until this morning when I was driving here. So, but yeah, it's like a psychological battle that a lot of Australians that kind of battle with, where why pay extra? Why put myself in financial stress is what they think it is. Why pay extra $100, $150 when I can go spend that at the pub?
Yeah.
Rather than my mortgage.
Yeah, and that's the thought, right? So that's really the danger with a 50-year mortgage is that it takes 50 years or even longer to pay off.
Not rich yet.